Hello, welcome to my video. Today, I will teach you my favorite way to defeat Bee Queen. The main strategy is from a player called Overtime, so I'll be leaving a link to his video on the description. I've incorporated a few small things to make it more efficient, but we will talk about those later. I would like to teach you how you can practice any fight in the game with this mod called Too Many Items Plus. I always use it to practice and test things, so I will give a brief explanation on how to use it. I'm also using this mod called Epic Health Bar to see which phase Bee Queen is at. This mod can be very helpful when learning bosses. Once the mod is enabled, you can press T to open or close the tab. The bottom right button will open up a lot more options on the right side. You can click on Honey Patch to teleport straight to Bee Queen. At the bottom line of buttons, you can activate God Mode and Creative Mode. And on the top left, there's this AL button where you can click on it, and to its right, you can type the item you want to spawn. Left click will spawn one item and right click will spawn 10 items. Now for the fight preparations. Usually, Bee Queen will spawn near a road, but if that's not the case, you can just make your own. You will really need the speed boost, but I'll be more specific soon. I usually use a star color staff to mark how far she will go from spawn. 3 dwarf stars will be enough. You can hammer the hive and just check how far she goes, and just leave her be until she despawns. You can do this as many times as you want, she will just turn back into a hive. You don't really need a star color staff for this, you can mark those locations with anything, it's just better to use it for the light source. On the third phase, you will need speed boost to outrun the Grumblebees. You can use Roads and Walking Cane, or Cane and Magiluminescence, or Magiluminescence and Roads. Any of these combinations will work, but the higher speed, the easier it is. I'll be using a Handbat on my fights, but you can use Dark Swords or Morning Stars if raining. For the helmet slots, you can use Beekeeper hats, since it greatly reduces damage from bees. If you are rig-freed, battle helmets will work just fine. And if you are rich, Tulisite crowns are excellent as well. For the armor slots, for the first 2 phases, you can use what's available to you. Log suits, Tulisite suits, Knight armor. I wouldn't advise Marble suit for a beginner, since you will need to keep swapping it to avoid the speed reduction. You can have this fight only using Beekeeper hats and no armor. That just means you will need more food and more hats. You can bring any healing food or item, according to your character needs. And a pan flute is really nice to have, but not necessary. Now for Bee Queen and its 4 phases. She has 22,500 health, deals 60 damage to players. First phase, she will spawn 4 to 5 Grumblebees and will aggro on the player. Second phase, she will spawn another batch of bees, so she will have 2 batches following her at all times. Third phase, she will screech to make the Grumblebees follow and attack the player at high speed for a limited time. And on the fourth phase, she will do the same as the third, but more frequently. The strategy for the first phase is quite simple. You kill the Grumblebees until there's 1 left. If you kill the last one, she will spawn another batch, so you need to avoid that. You can use a pan flute to make Bee Queen fall asleep to make this easier. Once that's done, you just attack Bee Queen until the second phase begins. For the second phase, she will spawn 2 sets of Grumblebees, and the strategy for the first phase will no longer work. There are 2 methods for this phase. Number 1 is using a pan flute and attack her until the Grumblebees awake. After you hit Bee Queen once, she will awake, walk away in a straight line and screech to wake up the Grumblebees. Since she walks away in a straight line after waking up, you can walk around the honey trail to attack her. The second method is luring Bee Queen away from the Grumblebees. Remember when I told you to mark how far she will go from spawn? Grumblebees are slower than Bee Queen, so you can lure her away from the bees to one of those marks. Hit her as much as you can, and when the bees get close, you go around her and the bees, luring her to the other marked spots, and repeat the process over and over until the phase ends. On a legit run, I usually use the pen flutes until it's on 10%, and then I use the other method to finish this phase. For the third and fourth phase, she will screech and the Grumblebees will follow and attack you at high speed. These two phases are all about timing. Once she screeches, you run away on a straight line, counting to 6, and you suddenly run back, going between the Grumblebees. Their attack is low, so with enough speed you go right by them without getting hit once. If you go past the marks, Bee Queen will go back to its spawner. You don't have to worry that much about she despawning, since it takes a little bit of time until it happens. Just don't go super far from the mark, and you will be fine. And you repeat this process until the end of the fights. This might seem like a lot, but it's actually quite easy once you get the hang of it. I usually leave extra gear on the spawner, like helmets and weapons, just in case I end up needing more than I expected. If you are still having trouble, I advise practicing with the best gear possible until you are more comfortable with the mechanics and strategy. And then practice with worse gear until you can defeat her consistently. I hope this guide was helpful for your future fights. And thanks for watching.